I am Jerry Candelario.
I am Jazzmun Creighton.
APIT is proud to present My Wellness Journey Starts With Me, a visibility campaign to raise awareness about the importance of mental health and wellness in the LGBTQ2 spirit community.
We have assembled a talented group of social influencers who will share their experiences and their personal philosophies on their journey to wellness.
Through one-on-one interviews, they were able to share their thoughts on the COVID-19 pandemic, racial inequality, and the movements Black Lives Matter and Stop Asian Hate.
These interviews are meant to spark dialogue and increase awareness to address our community's well-being.
Here is the interview featuring international supermodel, the fantabulous RuPaul, as interviewed by our Gender Fears Associate Director, Jazzmun Creighton.
So the first question is, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I feel fantastic. I just got back from 3 months working overseas with all my friends. You know, we travel together, we do this thing, this show together, and it's hard to be away from home like that, you know. But because I'm with all my friends and we're inside this bubble, we have a good time and we support each other, which is so important. I don't know if I could have done it alone. I probably could have. It would have been much more difficult to be away that long, away from my home base, without the support, you know. But I'm doing good. You know, it took me a minute to sort of land in my body, having returned. I think we've been back for just almost 2 weeks now. So I feel fully back to myself. And but we're about to start up again, you know.
Yeah. So what have you learned since the beginning of the pandemic, of this pandemic?
Well, you know, it's been really enlightening. What's really interesting about the pandemic, and I've always been a seeker. I've always wanted to find the truth underneath the surface of everything. That's been my whole life's purpose. You know, growing up in San Diego, I always felt like such an outsider. And I thought, okay, you know what? I'm smart. I can figure out how to join in with society, because I always felt like there was never a place for me. So I thought, you know what? I'm smart. I can figure this out. I can study human behavior and society and figure out how to get in there. And I did that. I studied it. I figured it out. And then once I figured it out, I thought, I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want any part of it. It's all illusion. It's all a hypocrisy. It's all a joke. And every one of those people, everyone is faking it. Everyone's faking it. They're pretending as if, you know, they know what's really happening. So having said that, you know, I've learned how to sustain myself by myself. And I also seek my tribe of people who feel the same way. I think I first found it. I was living in San Diego. This is probably 70, maybe 71, 72, when I found a TV show called Monty Python's Flying Circus. And I thought, these are my people, because they thought outside the box. They were clearly misfits. And they had a sense of humor about life that has kept me, you know, kept me from the ledge for years. A sense of humor is everything to me. So, having said that, I learned that our society is people are selfish. During the whole pandemic, which we're still in, it was amazing to see how unwilling people were to join in as a group and help keep all of us healthy. Everyone was focused on, I'm not wearing a mask, or, you know, I don't want this vaccine. It's like, no, this isn't just about you. It's about all of us together. And even if you don't believe in wearing a mask, wear one out of human common decency that that I care about you. Yeah. I know I don't have the virus, but I want you to feel safe around me, you know? So I learned that my suspicions were, unfortunately, were correct, that that most people are so self-centered, they can't see beyond their own nose of that we're in this together. And the truth of the matter is, there's only one of us here. I know the ego will have you believe that you're over there and I'm over here. The truth is, that's an illusion. The truth is, there's only one of us here, one of us, and we are one thing.
I like that a lot. And did you what positive things came from it?
Well, I confirmed that my ability to isolate that I had no problem being alone. I have never had a problem being alone. George is in Wyoming on the ranch. I did see him during Christmas before we went overseas, but even before that, we weren't traveling. So we talk 4 times a day on FaceTime, but I have no problem being alone. Never have had a problem with that.
So you were able, it didn't affect you emotionally, mentally, anything?
I like it. I get up at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, go to bed. Gramps is in bed by 8:30, 9 o'clock. So I'll wake up, I'll jump on my bicycle and ride all over West Hollywood at 4 o'clock in the morning with my reflective jacket, my lights, and just, it's so quiet and peaceful. And it is so lovely. And especially then, it was weird because, all the businesses were boarded up, and it was such a weird, surreal time to be biking around the city. But I'll do that. I see my trainer at 5 in the morning. It's just the 2 of us, so we didn't have to wear masks, but I did all that stuff. Sometimes I'll take I have a convertible. I'll drive out to the beach and watch the sun come up. So I do those kind of things. And on top of that, and just to, I wake up, first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is I get down on that floor and I stretch, because at my age, I have to stretch. And then while I'm down there, I pray. And, I'm not religious, but prayer is a way to disengage my ego. It's a way to pay homage to a force that is greater than me. And just the act of bowing down and saying, "Dear God, thank you," it disengages the ego. So immediately the ego's machine just goes boom, down. And my prayer is the same one every morning. I'm thankful for the things that I'm thankful for and have gratitude for. And then I say, "Dear God, I ask that you guide my feelings, my perceptions, and dear God, I ask that you guide my feelings, my perceptions, and and I release all resentment to you." So then I finish the prayer and I go into my meditation. And the meditation, it can be 30 seconds, it could be 60 seconds, it could be 5 minutes, it could be 15 minutes, doesn't matter. But in that quiet time, I'm able to open myself up to the frequency that is all around us, the frequency that is really what we are.
Energy.
And so I attune myself to that, and that gives me the balance I need to go through the day.
Ru, what would you say to somebody that is struggling with their mental health at this moment?
Well, I would say, first of all, you're not alone. You are not alone. We are all trying to make sense of all of this, because it doesn't make sense. First of all, you're trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And, you know, LaWanda Page, Aunt Esther from Sanford and Son, she has this one joke on one of her albums where she says, you was crazy as hell when they brought you here, but you in your right damn mind now.
I like that. I like that. It's true.
It's
It's
true.
true.
The fact that you are questioning it means you are not crazy. The fact that you are questioning it means that you are sane. You know, but people talk about, you know, being depressed, and I say, you know, what other reaction would you have to the world we live in? You should be depressed. That's the right reaction.
Yeah.
You know, so,
Yeah.
but first to that person, I would say you're not alone. And that second, I would say there is an answer. There is a solution to what you're experiencing. And what you're probably experiencing is an imbalance. And you can find your balance through a meditation, through the stillness and the quiet. It's a frequency. And what usually happens when you are out of balance is that there's a blockage in that frequency. So your job is to clear a path for that frequency to generate through you and to flow through you. So, and that's what meditation does. Just a quiet space, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, whatever you can do, you know, to bring yourself back to center.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I want to shift gears just a little bit because I have to talk about Drag Race and how it's become a global phenomenon. Like, I'm just thinking about the first day, you know, when I was on the stage.
On the very first day on our show. Yes.
I was like, oh my God. And I was just thinking, wow, like sitting there, like we had no clue that you were going to be the most celebrated host of all times, right? And the Emmy nominated host of all. I mean, just sitting there, like that we weren't thinking. Were you thinking? I mean, what were you feeling?
Well, I'll tell you, first of all, let me back up and tell folks what happened was we got the green light for this little show. And, you know, the first person I called to say, come and please help me with this was you. And you were there the whole time. We were in this little studio in Burbank. It was very hot and very tiny. And most people have seen the first season, the blurry season. And it was a, you know, shoestring budget is an understatement, you know, and you can see it on the show, but you were there from the very beginning, helping me to get myself together. And we were in this tiny, looked like a closet of a dressing room, trying to put these clothes on and stuff. And thank you so much for helping me. How many shows did we? I think we did either 8 or 6 shows. I don't remember. But that was 13 years ago. 13. And we have grown with this show, and the brilliant thing is that this show sort of grew up as streaming was able to grow up, because back then we depended on a network to pick us up or license the show around the world. Now, because of streaming, people in different countries, if they have Netflix or whatever streaming service, they can see it. So you don't need a network anymore. Yes. But from the beginning, our show was a celebration of drag, a celebration of people who think outside the box, people who have been pushed outside of the margins of society, or you know, been sort of ostracized, who have found a place for themselves to shine and to paint themselves up and have fun and kiki, and also at the same time sort of make fun of the status quo and poke fun at the status quo. So that's what the show has always been about: poking fun, having fun, and celebrating the art of drag.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it would be this. I knew there was an audience for it. I knew that there were a lot of people who would enjoy it. I did not know that it would become a worldwide phenomenon that, you know, kids, I mean, we're talking 7-year-old kids are loving. In fact, my cameraman this weekend, we filmed the finale this weekend. My cameraman, who's been there for probably 10 years, he said his 7-year-old is now watching the show, and that she now starts every sentence by saying, "Child."
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Child. She's in the work group. I love it. I love it. I have two nieces. I mean, I think the youngest one's in kindergarten, and she knows all the girls' name on the show. I was like, how do you? And she knows what look she wants to do, who she wants to emulate. And I was like, look at this. Like these kids, everybody knows. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, it literally shifted the landscape. And how many people did you employ and provide food and job opportunities to? How many, like thousands of girls?
You know, it seems like it. I don't know how many girls there are, because, you know, we have the different franchises around the world, but I host the English one, and we just filmed the Down Under drag race, which is New Zealand and Australia. We actually filmed it in New Zealand this beginning of the year. So
Wow.
It's great. I love it. I love drag. Always have loved drag. I love people. I love people who have been courageous enough to not give up, because, you know, society is very mean if you don't fit in. So the show at its core is about the tenacity of the human spirit, and what makes the show, aside from all the paint and the powder and the gorgeous clothes and all that stuff, really has to do with survivors, people who have sustained themselves and found a community regardless of what society has to say, you know?
Now you had an illustrious career, like where you've been around for a very long time. Was there any I mean,
Very
seriously,
kind of
like,
you.
I've only known you as a superstar, like since, you know what I'm saying, since forever. Was there a time where there was any doubt that set in?
Oh yeah, what time is it? No. Oh, of course, always. And that's that balance that I was talking about. You know, you have to, you're always teetering on, you know, the brink of whatever. Now, having been around and having been in a 12-step program for 21 years, you know, I have more of a foundation, so that, you know, when that imbalance happens, I know how to correct it sooner than I did before I found this 12-step program. But you know, it's a constant thing, you know, this life. Part of being present is knowing that at any moment it can all crumble and fall out. It absolutely could.
Yeah. So what are your hopes for 2021 and beyond?
My hopes for 2021, you know, I'm very careful not to go too far ahead in my projection or in my expectations. You know, my focus is really to stay in the present, to stay in this moment, and to really be grateful for what this moment brings. Being able to talk to you, having the technology to do what we're doing right now, and having my health, which is everything. You know, I've been you know, I've been homeless. I've you know, had you know, lots of homes, but the truth is, none of that is important if you don't have your health, and health is everything. So, you know, moving forward, I always have a lot of projects. I love being creative. That's my favorite thing on it. Laughing and being creative. Those are my two favorite things. So I have a lot of irons in the fire right now. So hopefully 2021 will bring, you know, abundance and fun and joy. Hopefully 2021 will bring dancing back. Dancing would be my third favorite thing to do. I love music. I love dancing. And I hope that the experience of this pandemic has helped people understand what is really important, and what friendships and closeness of other people, how important that is. You know, I think our society, especially with social media and all the stuff, we've really kind of gotten lost in our connection to other people. Even before the pandemic, you'd be walking down the street or driving down the street here in LA, and people are not paying attention to what they're doing or this moment. They're on their phone or they're looking at something which is not in the now. The only thing that matters is right now, where you are, being present in this moment. That is where your power is. That is where life happens, not in the past, not in the future. It's right now. So hopefully this year and this experience of the pandemic will help people understand that and bring value to that.
That's beautiful. So this is my last question, actually, I think. But I want to ask you, what are you listening to? What are you listening to right now? Maybe you might ask the question.
You know what? In the shower this morning, I was listening to Mariah Carey's MC equals MC squared. What is that?
Yeah,
that one?
that's it. Yeah.
With Obsessed on it and
Migraine. Yeah.
and Side Effects. I love that album.
I'm that chick you like.
What's that?
I'm that chick you like.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. But you know, for the past 2 weeks, and I get like this, and it's like this addiction that there's certain albums where I can't stop myself, and I wake up listening to it. Yeah, I wake up with it going in my head, and I'll listen to it for 2 weeks. For the past 2 weeks, the group London Beat, who did that song, I've Been Thinking About You. It's 30 years old, this song, 30 years old. I have all of their stuff, and I have a playlist of theirs with, 20 songs on it. I've been listening to London Beat for 2 weeks straight. 2 weeks straight. And, I'm telling you, the addict in me, trust me, when I say I've been listening to it for 2 weeks, trust and believe. Every day, every time I'm in the car, just constantly. And before that, though, I was listening to Kylie's disco album the same way, like for 1 month, every single day.
Wow. Crazy.
I know, but it's so good. It's so good. And the London Beat, it's three guys, and they harmonize like, oh my God.
Amazing.
And their song, I've Been Thinking About You, and they've got a song called 9 a.m. On a New York subway. It's called 9 a.m. It's actually called 9 a.m. The Comfort Zone, but I renamed it 9 a.m. on a New York subway. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with music. I always have been. Always.
What does Pride mean to you this year?
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I went to my first Pride in Atlanta, Georgia in 1982. And if I remember correctly, there were probably about maybe a little over 100 people there. And we were right there at the corner of 10th Street and Peachtree with our little signs, and we were marching. We probably marched just about 3 blocks, but I'll never forget it. But, over the years, and I've worked Pride and done Pride so many times, I've thought about it. And, the concept of Pride is a way to balance and heal shame, because the idea was there was so much shame placed on outsiders, gay people, people who think outside the box. There's so much shame that the idea was to sort of balance it out and heal it with pride. But over the years, as I've really studied this, I've realized that the opposite of shame is not pride. It's the opposite of shame is actually love. So, you know, because pride is a byproduct of the ego, because the ego thinks that, well, if I puff myself up, then that will fix the shame. But the only thing that will fix the shame is love. And you love yourself, and you learn to love the people who shamed you, because you realize that they were also hurt children who just passed on the shame to you. They thought that the way to alleviate their own shame was to pass it on to someone else. But the way you heal the shame is through love. Now, pride, of course, do pride, do go out and celebrate celebrate who you are. Absolutely. But know that the real cure to shame is love.
And if you can't love yourself,
how in the hell are you gonna love somebody else? Can I get an amen up in here?
Amen. Hallelujah.
Amen.
I love it. Thank you, Ru. How's your family? How's your sisters?
They're all good. They're all good. You know, we FaceTime and text and all that stuff. You know, my sisters have been, they were growing up, they were my world. They were absolutely my world. They taught me about music and dancing and fashion and taught me how to laugh, taught me how to make magic. And I love them for that to this day. And hopefully I've been able to pass some of that on to them.
You have. You've allowed us to free fall into magic on the daily, and we cannot tell you how much we appreciate you.
Thank you for
Thank
that.
you.
That's
I love
beautiful.
you,
I love that imagery.
Yes. Thank you. I love you.
I love you.